Stories that have been trending in the media in the last few days. The Bureau of National Investigations, BNI, has begun quizzing two persons who threatened the lives of judges in the country. The BNI detained them yesterday following allegations that they made on radio that they would quote-unquote finish judges. Alistair Nelson and Godwin Akugan, who were giving their submissions on Accra-based radio station Muntie FM on June 26, 2016, allegedly threatened to unleash mayhem on Supreme Court judges in the country, claiming that they know where they live or their residences. And that particular issue has come up for discussion severally, and I would want to speak to two key political leaders in the country and just to pick their thoughts on what they make of discussion and the decision to detain these two gentlemen as they question them with regard to made on a radio station here in Accra. Let me quickly introduce my guest, then we'll go into the discussion. Dr. Clementa Park is head for Citizens Complaints Unit at the Presidency. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Martin.
Yes, and then also we have Ibrahim Ajay. He's a leading member of the Let My Vote Count Alliance and also member of the New Afternoon.
Good afternoon, Martin.
Yes. To start with, the very first issue has to do with the BNI's decision to detain these two. Dr. Park, are you surprised with this decision? For the first gentleman who we are told said he was sorry, do you think the apology is enough for the BNI to leave him, or the decision to detain them is in order?
Very well, Martin. Let me say good afternoon to our viewers across the country, and to indicate that my good friend Ibrahim and I, we go way back from our days at Radio XYZ. Correct. So it's good to reconnect on the set of Midday News. Okay. I think that, law enforcement has a responsibility to ensure peace and order in our country. And therefore, if and when the BNI or another public institution which has the mandate to ensure that every Ghanaian citizen, regardless of your ethno-linguistic background, your political affiliation, or even your religious creed or dogma, is able to go about your work with a free mind, without fear or harm, decides that it becomes necessary to undertake a particular action in fulfillment of that particular constitutional responsibility. We shouldn't second guess the motive of such a law enforcement institution. Okay. Now, with regards to the at hand, two gentlemen in connection with comments that they are alleged to have threatening to the lives of the justices. I have heard several renditions, and I think you are right in indicating that at least Alistair, whom I know is a member of the PPP youth wing, has apologized. As far as I know, he has apologized. And the question you are actually asking is, if he has, on second thought, decided that that comment that he made on the program certainly was in bad taste, was not acceptable, and has expressed remorse, is there then the need to still let the law deal with him? Now, it is important to note that we should encourage people to admit and to publicly apologize for wrongdoing or for pronouncements that, in hindsight, they regret making. Right. But that should not exonerate you from the consequences and the laid down rules that people who engage in such behavior have to go through. Okay. So he must be commended for doing what is right, because there are a lot more senior persons in society who held much higher positions, who have made similar comments and have chosen not to even see the need to apologize. So he must be commended for apologizing, but that should not prevent law enforcement from looking into this issue. Now, the second gentleman, from what I know so far and the small research that I have done, indeed was not even a panelist on the program on the said day.
That day.
And so it's a bit questionable as to why
he is being
identified and condemned when he was not even present. Okay. And I think he actually needs an apology from those who have sought to impugn him by blaming him for being conduct and participating in an activity when indeed the evidence shows Ibrahim, that he wasn't present.
Yes, same question.
Thank you, Martin. The situation now is in good order in terms of the BNI picking up these two gentlemen. I want to correct something that Dr. Apak just mentioned. The information in the public domain is that Alistair Nelson was a member of the PPP. 3 months ago, he left and joined the NDC, which is why you find...
You have evidence to that?
It's in the public domain.
No,
I don't have evidence to that.
A card?
I don't have evidence.
I'm telling you,
I'm telling you what's in the public
domain.
But
it is not true.
In the same vein, I could have asked you, have you seen... I could have asked Dr. Pat, has he seen a membership card of PPP?
Martin.
I could have asked him the same question, but I'll continue my submission here. It's important that what is in the public domain, we discuss it. He mentioned something that is in the public domain, that Alistair Nelson was PPP. Has he produced the PPP membership card?
But it is common knowledge.
Then I'm telling you what's in the narrative.
Which is also common knowledge to you. All right,
so
that he's moved to the camp of the NDC.
Correct.
Really?
Yeah, it's there. It's in the public domain.
Okay,
but let me continue the one I'm saying, Martin. It's important. I mean, this thing happened just a few days before Martyrs' Day.
Yeah.
When under PNDC, judges were murdered, not even killed, murdered, and their bodies were burnt just behind where the La Palme Hotel is now today. By God's grace, it rained, and the evidence was there. Why were the judges killed under PNDC? Because they refused to kowtow to the then dictatorship here in Ghana, the PNDC, who wanted them to rule in a certain way in certain judgments.
Yes.
Just a few days before that, you have this same person, I'm talking about Alistair Nelson, and it's not the first time he's been on Munti FM, with such vitriol and such corrosive statements, nationally destabilizing statements. So it's in good order. But what we need to understand is we want this to go through to the full,
the full length.
To the full length.
Okay.
I am scandalized. I can say that we should commend him. Somebody who
apologizing.
Very well. Apologizing, I know.
Yes.
You can acknowledge.
But I didn't say you should be exonerated.
It's interesting, when Dr. Apak was making his contribution, I didn't even interject. You have your rebuttal.
Yeah, but you have your rebuttal to me.
Deal with me.
Good. It's important that we understand something. That when you say you commend, the use of the vocabulary is very important in terms of how we communicate to other young men and women listening to us. You can say we acknowledge that he's actually made an apology, but to commend, to reward,
you are not an English teacher.
Right. Because it's important.
I understand the context of the word.
I don't know, Brofo, but I'm telling you the one I'm telling you.
So
don't tell
me I'm English.
So don't try to interpret me. Make your own submission.
Now that they are in the premises of the BNI or in the grips of the BNI, it's a commendable issue that the BNI is trying to get.
The course of action, yes.
The
course of action that the BNI have taken is as it should be. And the evidence is there. I heard him on tape as well. I'm talking Alistair Nelson. And so for others to say they've heard different renditions, and there's only one tape. Unless Alistair Nelson's been making different contributions that Dr. Apak is aware of, which the BNI are not.
Okay.
If that's the case, if that's the case, he should let them know. Because his words were, I've heard different renditions.
All right. So
me and Ghanaians have heard one rendition. Alistair Nelson threatening to kill Supreme Court justices.
It is in order that at least the BNI is monitoring or has taken over this case. We'll see how it unfolds in the coming days. But one other major issue that I want us to turn our attention to is the Abu Ramadan and the Electoral Commission back and forth. The latest, we are told, is that Abu Ramadan and his lawyers are going back to court to annul what evidence the EC has brought, saying that these are the number of persons, the 56,000 or so persons who registered with the NHIS card. Let me start with you on this one, because you are with the Let My Vote Count. They have actually been also quite loud on this particular issue. Do you think that if Abu Ramadan has evidence or that list of persons who registered with the NHIS card, he should take that to court and not wait for the court to ask the EC to bring one and say that what the EC has brought is not true?
First and foremost, it's not about evidence, and I'll clarify. The only institution or body that has the evidence is the Electoral Commission.
Okay.
And now what Abu Ramadan and Evans Nimako can do in terms of what the Chief Justice, Jojuna Wood, said about the shared responsibility is to invite Ghanaians who registered with NHIS, whose names are not captured on that data, as I believe they are doing now, to come forward And when you do that, you can even give a sworn affidavit. A sworn affidavit is in fact admissible in court as evidence. Okay. And now what the Supreme Court can then do is to juxtapose that evidence, because remember, it's not like when we went to the polls in 2012, where every political party, Martin, was given a copy of the pink sheet. That gives you the shared responsibility to bring your pink sheets to ascertain a fact or an allegation. Here, nobody was given a receipt as to how you registered, what you registered with,
and even where you registered.
Yeah, and even where you registered. So that evidence is with the EC. So when Abu Ramadan Evans Nimako can bring to bear or to the attention of the Supreme Court that we have X number of thousand people who, by their own sworn affidavit, remember, to lie in court amounts to custodial sentence. So they themselves are saying that we avail ourselves to the court with our evidence, which is the sworn affidavit, that we registered with NHIS. That data is not captured on the data provided by the EC.
Electoral Commission.
Data which in fact is bogus, and I'll say why it's bogus. They presented 56,000 names, Martin, of which there were duplicates and triplicates. And the fact that you'll have Martin, your name...
But at least...
I'm saying that the number. I'm just saying that the number itself is not valid. Because when you remove
So what number do you know about?
I don't know the number. I'm telling that the number they've given, the 56,000, if you eliminate the duplications and the triplications of names, voter ID and NHIS number, you get into the 20,000.
Okay. Let me bring in Dr. Parker. Unfortunately, we're running out of time on this. But yes, Doc, the back and forth of the NHIS and then Abu Ramadan and the EC.
Well, this is a purely legal matter. Citizens have the right to seek redress and to seek interpretations from the apex court of the land. They have exercised that right. The Electoral Commission has also responded appropriately. The Electoral Commission has made available the names and the list that it believes were those that represent those who use the NHIS. And if indeed the plaintiffs they have any further clarification, I think that they have the right to do so. So, you know, what we can do is to stop trying to pass judgment and to preempt what should be done and what should not be done, and allow the court to do that. When all is said and done,
unfortunately,
we will all go with the verdict of the court. So for let my vote count to be huffing and puffing, claiming to know
I think they
the
are just
numbers
putting
and the figures. You see, it is neither here nor there.
It's their constitutional
But
right to put it
they
forward.
shouldn't be telling us what they don't know.
Look, just before we go, wrapping up on this, your unit at the presidency, which is the Citizens Complaints Unit, we are told that you've had a number of complaints. Top on the list is complaints about electricity and ECG and all of that. Is that the case, and why is it so? What do you think is accounting for that?
Well, very well. You know, earlier this year, the president announced that, you know, his office was going to be setting up the Citizens Complaints Unit to provide another concerns about poor public service delivery, or may have information that can lead to the uncovering of fraud against the state, to be able to come and do that. And we've since set it up. And so citizens have been patronizing. Since we started, we received 106 complaints. We've resolved 52. But by and large, over 50% of the complaints had to do with electricity, one way or the other, from meters being paid for and not being billing. And you shouldn't be surprised, because I mean, once you open up an avenue for citizens to come and file complaints, they will come and complain about the topical issues of the day.
You know, my attention was on one thing. I thank him for his submission. But what Abu Ramadan and Evans Nimako have is this. They can ask this. No, we're going forward.
We don't have time.
Very quickly, 30 seconds. They can ask the Supreme Court to subpoena the EC to provide it with a copy of the documents that it used to find 56,000 people. This thing will be settled. As Dr. Pak mentioned, once the plaintiffs get a copy of the same documents, 14 million documents, which the EC sifted through and found 56,000, give a copy to Abu Ramadan's lawyers. They'll check through it, and we'll see whether we get 4 million names or 56,000.
It is in order that at least it's in the court, and to allow the courts to, you know, deal with the issue. And then certainly on TV3, we would keep an eye on that particular development and keep you posted when they become available. A big thank you to my two guests, Dr. Clementa Park, head of the Citizens Complaint Unit at the Presidency, and then also Ibrahim Ajay, leading member of the Let My Vote Count Alliance, and then also a member of the New Patriotic Party. This is TV3.